So, during my long hiatus from YouTube, I completely forgot to review any of the episodes of Arrow Season 7 that we've currently had, and so rather than trying to review them one by one, I thought I'd just do a collective review of the first 7 episodes of Arrow Season 7 so far. So, brace yourself, I'm going to be trying to condense a lot of shit into one video, so yeah, brace yourself if I skip through anything. So, in terms of my overall thoughts on the first 7 episodes, they have been great. Arrow has just had such a great start to Season 7. For me, this is the best start to a season since Season 2. I would say it's even better than Season 5, which is crazy, because I really like Season 5, but this has just been on a whole nother level, and I attribute a lot of this to the new showrunner of Beth Schwartz, or as I'm now calling her, Best Schwartz, along with Declan McKinney, you know. That's kind of the little nickname that we've now been just referring to her constantly as, because she's been killing it, and I just feel like this new lease of life has really just come through her, because one of my biggest problems with Season 6 was that the writing just felt so stale and kind of repetitive of what we'd already seen in previous seasons, and it just became clear to me that Mark Guggenheim and Wendy Miracle, the two showrunners of Arrow, just clearly did not have as big of an interest or as much of a enthusiasm for the show. But with Beth Schwartz coming in, she's just done so many things so different, but yet felt so natural as well. The tone of this season, for a starter, this is probably one of the darkest seasons of the show so far. The prison storyline has really helped kind of show what kind of things that Arrow can do now. I mean, some of the stuff we've seen in there is brutal as hell, and I love that. I love when Arrow is able to really take it to those darker places, because that's ultimately what Arrow is. It's the darkest show out of all the Arrowverse shows. This is the darkest one. It's the only one that's rated 15 other than Legends of Tomorrow. So I like the fact that they're going back and they're embracing that dark tone, which is something that I really don't think Season 6 really did a good job of trying to accomplish. It tried to go there in certain places, but it also just kind of felt like it was dancing around it, but didn't really want to commit to that tone. The prison storyline as well is fantastic. Now, as of episode 7, it's officially over, because at the end of that episode, Oliver actually got out of prison. But the prison storyline we've had has been fantastic. It's by far been the best storyline of the whole season. I just love the idea of Oliver being trapped in a prison full of people that he has put away as the Green Arrow ever since Season 1. And that is just a really cool idea, because he gets to interact with these people. You get to see what it's like on a day-to-day basis for him, the discoveries he makes in the prison, you know, figuring out more about these people that he's locked away and realizing that they're not exactly the people who he thought they were at first. And that's really evident in some characters. For example, Stanley, this character who comes in, who's, you know, apparently a huge fan of the Green Arrow, and yet the more you get into the storyline, the more you realize that that's not the case. And then you have characters like Bronze Tiger, who Oliver has just in the past only ever seen as kind of this villain, but by the end of the prison storyline, he really comes around to find a new sense of respect for him, and they, you know, understand one another, and he kind of sympathizes with him to a certain extent, that he's not a full-on bad guy. He just does what he does because of circumstances, and that kind of stuff in the prison storyline has just been executed so well. And like I said, it's been by far the best storyline of the whole season. I also love the flash forwards as well. It's such a really cool storyline to have these events that are happening like 2 decades in the future, and getting to see how the characters that we know right now, what happens to them in the future. It's such an interesting idea. Yes, I know it is a concept that was used on Lost first, but that doesn't mean it can't work for here, and so far it's been working wonders in terms of adding this sense of unpredictability and kind of foreshadowing to what will eventually happen. It's just been awesome so far. We don't know exactly how they will relate to the current day storyline, but only time will tell, because I'm loving what they're doing with it so far. I've also really enjoyed what they've done with Diaz this season. He feels a lot more threatening than he did in Season 6, because one of my biggest criticisms was that because of the fact that he was condensed to the last 10 or 11 episodes of Season 6 as the main antagonist, you didn't really get a sense of his power or his threat level. This season they've done a much better job with that. I think Kirk Acevedo has just really stepped up again, and he just feels a lot more threatening this season. And given that he's also a series regular this season as well, hopefully he'll be more of a thorn in Oliver's side, rather than somebody who's in the background for like 13 episodes and then pops up and is like, oh surprise, I'm the main villain. Like, we're actually gonna get a good lengthy storyline with him, and we're hopefully going to get a lot more conflict with him and Team Arrow for the rest of the season. I'm also loving Black Siren. She's probably my favourite character coming out of this season so far. I've just loved the storyline that she's gone through. I think Kate Cassidy has been really, really good with what she's done with the role, and just the way that they're taking her character in terms of like slowly redeeming her even more than she was trying to in season 6. It's just been so good, and it's just really interesting to see this character slowly evolve, not necessarily into Earth 1 Laurel, but into her own person, which is what I think they should do. I don't want her to just completely inherit everything about Earth 1 Laurel. I want her to be her own character, and that's what they're doing here, and the way that they're using her and the way that she's been written is fantastic. I just wish we had more of this writing for her in season 6, because it's worked wonders for her here. And yeah, Black Siren has by far been the MVP of this season so far. Although this season is not perfect, I do have a few gripes with this season that have been holding me back in a few places, but nothing major that's been, really putting me off this season as a whole. I do think there are some aspects of it though that could be improved. For example, I do think some of the supporting characters do need to be a little bit more consistent with their writing. For example, you have Dinah, who, although I am liking the storyline that they're trying to do with her, with, trying to make her more of the captain of the police and not so much as the Black Canary, going out on the field and, being a vigilante, I feel like some of her character choices and motivations are very flip-floppy in how they're being written. One moment she's with a character, the next minute she's arresting them, the next minute she's letting them free, the next minute she's, having a go at them. It's just feeling strange, and I feel like Dinah is not so much a character. She just feels like somebody who is just written the way that the plot requires her to be, and it's a shame because Juliana Harkavy is a really good actress, and I just wish that her character was written in a more consistent manner, like someone, for example, like Black Siren, who's very consistent with the writing quality, whereas with Dinah, it's been a little bit up and down so far this season. And there are maybe a few other characters you could say are the same. For example, Curtis, he hasn't really had a lot to do this season. And neither really has Diggle, apart from a new storyline that they're integrating with the Dante painting, which maybe could be escalated a little bit further. But yeah, there are some characters who maybe are on the same wavelength, but for me, Dinah has been the one that stuck out as the one that's just been not as consistent with the writing. And the other criticism I have is with the Longbow Hunters. These were villains that were teased at the end of season 6 as these, these mystical, like, assassins that are so powerful even the League is afraid of them. That has not been the case. Like, these guys are just so amateur looking that the League would probably destroy them with one arm behind their back. It is ridiculous, and they've really not been developed at all. They were interesting at first, but like, we barely know anything about them. They barely say anything, and the only aspect of them that's even remotely interesting is the silencer's gadget, which like cuts off all sound. And that's cool, but that's just a gadget. That's not a personality trait of her character, and by the looks of it, it seems as if we may have seen the last of them because of a reference in episode 7 that's like, oh, a parting gift from the Longbow Hunters. So does that indicate we're not going to see them again? Because if it does, then I have to say they've been a massive disappointment. And it's a shame because a lot of this season has lived up to the hype. But if there's one thing that I have been really disappointed by, and pretty much the only thing that's disappointed me, it's been the Longbow Hunters and how they've treated them. Because in the comics, they're such a big group and integral to Green Arrow, comic book lore, that to just see them be portrayed like this on screen, yeah, it's pretty disappointing. But overall, season 7 has been fantastic so far. I've really enjoyed my time with it. Like I said, easily the best start to a season of Arrow since season 2. I'm really interested to see what they're going to do for the rest of this season, and yeah, count me excited for the mid-season finale tonight because it's going to be amazing. So thank you all very much for watching my quick review of the first 7 episodes of Arrow Season 7. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought about this first half of the season. What's your favourite episode? For me personally, it would be episode 7, the Slabside Redemption. Probably one of the best episodes of Arrow ever. I love that episode, but let me know what yours is in the comment section down below. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Hopefully try and keep up more up to date on Arrow videos and try to do a few more reviews for you guys in the coming months. And with that being said, I will see you all for the next video. Goodbye.